This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Wosnice. But before that, this video is brought to you by Altona Gaming and Adam Buckman. Thank you for being farm barons. So Wośnice can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now, when you download this map, there are also 5 additional required mods. They are a machine shelter, medium garage, old grain mill, farmhouse, and old cowshed for cows. If you download this map in the in-game downloadable content menu, it will automatically download these mods for you. If you happen to download this map via the website and add it to your mod folder and try to launch the map without the required mods, the game will prompt you and ask you if you want to download those in addition. Now let's read a little bit of the description. Welcome to the fictional map of Wosnice. The map is adapted for precision farming, so it does indeed have a custom soil map. The map has 1 farm with cows, 126 fields, animal buy point, 11 different selling stations, vehicle traffic, lots of pedestrian traffic, machine shop, sawmill, lime station, gas station, dairy, forest, and mill, new grass textures, snow on roofs in winter, 50 toys to find, which is interesting because when we look at the statistics screen, it's going to show 100. A place to buy your farm, so an area where you can buy it and develop it out, and 5 uploaded new buildings to be constructed. So let's go ahead and load on into the map. We are going to use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at these maps. That is additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. And the 5 required mods, again, are the farmhouse, machine shelter, medium garage, old cow shed for cows, and the old grain mill. Let's go ahead and have the log load up. If you load this map up in Farm Manager or start from scratch, you will find that the main farm is completely barren of buildings, but you do have your starting machinery. As I said, if you play this map with precision farming, you do have a custom soil map. We'll be taking a look at that here in a moment. And here we are, loaded in at our main farm. The main farm is fairly basic, but we'll get to a farm tour also here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA. Now, this is a smaller map. If we imagine that the area here that I am outlining is a standard size map, you can see that the actual playable area is probably about a quarter or a little maybe larger than a quarter size of a standard map. Yet we still managed to have 125 fields on the map according to the description. We do have all the standard crop types available to us here on Farm Sim 22. And if we take a look at the lands area, you will see we start out by owning the main farm here, which includes field 79, has an area of nearly 3 acres in size and $71,000 to buy. We also own field 35, which is $38,880, and field 98, which is $21,504. Now, this is a typical Polish style map with the way the fields are laid out. You should be able to fairly easily merge many of these fields together in order to make larger fields. For example, 3, 4, 5, and 6 could probably very easily be merged together. At most, you might have to get rid of a few trees along each different field tree line. Now, let's jump back here and take a look. We do have a viable plot of land, which is located right here. It is 0.55 acres in size and is $13,464. We could also buy the unbuyable land if we had $20,297. Not all that bad, and that is going to include various points around the map and a couple of the main sell point areas, as well as the river. Now, if we take a look at our farmland lease screen, farmland lease screen is going to show us the buyable farmlands, how big the farmland is, and if there are any fields associated, what those fields are, and then ultimately how much those farmlands are going to cost. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of slowly scroll through this list. You can pause this video at any point in time if there are farmlands that you want to have a closer look at and see how big they are, maybe what fields are associated with those farmlands, and then ultimately the cost. But overall, we're seeing that the farmlands are fairly economical, but we also see that the farmland are fairly small, as we might expect, with 125 fields spread out over an area that maybe is just a little bit larger than a quarter size of a standard map. Take a look at the field calculator screen. This is going to show us the actual fields that are on the map and how big each particular field is. You're going to see that most of these fields are definitely under 1 hectare in size. Some of them are substantially under 1 hectare in size, but a few of the bigger ones are a little bit larger than a single hectare. So this map is going to be really, really good for those that, one, do not have a lot of time to invest and want to still feel as if they are actually accomplishing something by being able to plant, harvest, and do a bunch of field work on smaller fields, or two, someone that was looking to play with maybe some smaller machinery or maybe some lower horsepower machinery. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our custom soil map. As we can see, the soil types are kind of put on the map with respect to kind of they're swiped across at an angle. So we have a big swath here of loam, we have a big swath of silty clay, a big swath of sandy loam, and then we've got kind of in the corners 111 and 49 some loamy sand. Take a look at our crop counter. You'll see that we do have the standard base game crop counter available to us on this particular map. And if we look at the prices screen, you will see that we do have the ability to sell all of the available base game crops that we could grow on the map. We can indeed sell, including multiple sell points for sugar beet cut. If we look at our animal outputs, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the animal outputs, as well as silage, hay, straw, and grass. But the story is a wee little different when we get down here into our production. For the most part, we do have the ability to sell all of the base game production, with the exception of planks and furniture, which is rather disappointing, because we were just so close to getting a full point with respect to being able to sell all the base game crops, production outputs, and animal outputs. But planks and furniture, for whatever reason, are the only things that we cannot sell in the base game here. We do have a bulk line buy point, and we also do not have a stone crusher. So if you want to play on this map with stones turned on, you will need to place your own stone crusher down. We do start with a decent little list of starting equipment given the size of the fields. We do have an old cow shed on the main farm. We do not have any animals at the start. I'm really not sure if we do have contracts or not. I think we do have contracts, just for whatever reason, they are not showing up at the moment. And we do not own any production chain at the start. There is a sole production chain, that is the old grain mill, that is going to produce several different items. We will take a look at that here in a little bit. But in any other rate, if you want some more production, you're going to have to either sacrifice field space or that one buyable area that I mentioned earlier. Now, the description mentions 50 toys to find, but here we have collectibles, and it has 0 out of 100. So I'm not really sure if we really have 50 to find, or if we actually have a full 100. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. Start out with the Zetor Proxima HS80 small tractor, the John Deere 7810, and Massey Ferguson 3670 medium tractors. We have the Top Liner 4090H harvester that is paired up with the 4090H grain header, and of course the 4090H header trailer. We have our 1986 pickup truck, the Welger DK115 trailer, the Agramaz POV5XL plow. We have the Rabe EG39 cultivator, as well as the Nordstein HK25 NS3030 seeder. We have the Agramaz Falcon 3 planter, and then we have a 750 kilogram weight in pairs. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farm. We have our farmhouse right here, which we can sell, and we can buy it back should we wish to. We have a nice little shed over here where we're going to find our machinery for the most part. We have a placeable fuel tank. And around back we have our base game grain silo. We have our dump and fill point right there. The rest of our machinery is going to be located under this shed here. And then the cow barn is right here at the main farm. And all of the triggers are going to be located inside. You have an outside light. I thought I opened you up. So we have our buy point for our cows. We can hold 40 cattle in total. We have our milk trigger, and then static cows. Well, the good thing to know is if you're not a fan of static cows, you can remove the building. The building is sellable. We can sell all the buildings here at the main farm, should we so wish. But we have our static cows. We have our straw point. We have our food trough inside of here. And then through the door, we have a slurry point located right here. So if we wanted to, like I said, we could sell the buildings on the main farm. We can also sell this kind of entrance where we have the shrubbery as a fence, and then the concrete. We can sell that. We can sell our house. We can sell everything. Let's go ahead and take a look in the build mode. Since we do have the required mods, then we do have the ability to put down these buildings. So we have our medium garage here. Base game silos, extensions, containers, pools. We do have our custom farmhouse. And if we come up here to our animals, we do have then the custom cow shed. But like I said, you can sell this cow shed if you want, and then put something back down in its place. We do have a fair bit of ground textures also available on the map. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. We have our animal mud, our asphalt, our dirt, forest ground, grass, dry grass, another dry grass. We have our gravel, another gravel. Guess what? A couple more gravels. We have rock, granite, another rock, some more gravel, some more dirt, and that's what's going to do it. So we do have quite an extensive list of paintable textures here. So we have some kind of wet dirt, we have our gravel, exposed rock, lots of different gravel depending on how much greenery you want in them, and size of stones. We have our animal mud, plain dirt, forest ground, grass, and dry grass. So let's go ahead and get set up with our fly around. We'll fly around the map. It won't take too terrible long. We'll come back to the vehicle shop, get our Mahindra, and then drive around and kind of take a little bit of look from the ground level. Let's get a little bit of altitude, and I think you're going to pretty much see very, very quickly how small of a map this really is. So we are looking due south to the edge of the map there. Let's go ahead and rotate around. We'll be looking out toward the east. We're now looking due east. Make our way around, and at the tree line, that is the extreme northern part of the map. Then over here at the extreme west of the map is just past those buildings over there. Over here we have our vehicle shop. We have our old grain mill, which is located directly below. Then we have two sell points. We have a pallet sell point and a grain sell point down here in the corner of the map. See the way the lay of the land is? The fields have a little bit of undulation to them. Really like to see that. A little bit lower, you can see how that is going to work. Now over here we have a sawmill, so we have a log sell point as well as a wood chip sell point. This is not production. These are simply sell points for logs and wood chips. We also have a grain sell point below. In fact, related to production, there is only one production item built into the map. And as I said earlier, it is the old grain mill. It does have the ability to produce several different items, which is nice to see. But if you're looking to get into additional types of production, you will need to either sacrifice up field space, which I'm personally not a giant fan of, or you're going to be able to make use of that one small buildable plot that is kind of just south of the main farm area. So I'm a little bit hesitant to do so, but we will be giving the map a full point with respect to having production built in or area set aside for such. Now the map has some rather interesting sell points, and this is actually one of those. So here we have purchase from local farmer, and then we have another one up here which is purchase from local farmer 2. And then we have barn in village. Then ultimately we have one more over here called the manure heap. So these are kind of interesting sell points. Give the map a little bit of a interesting kind of small town feel where you're selling to another person. And here we have the manure heap sell point below, clearly to sell manure. Now with respect to these power poles that are in the middle of the fields, let's go ahead and check and see if they have collisions. They look like they do indeed. We'll check one more. I'm going to run right into it, and we get pushed to the side. So they do indeed have collisions. So here we have a grain sell point. We have a dairy, so the sell point for a milk. We have a buy point for bulk lime. We have a fuel buy point, and then we have a bale sell point. Now, with respect to being able to sell all the base game products, animal outputs, and crops, we are going to give the map 3/4 of a point because of the fact that we cannot sell planks or furniture. We don't really necessarily deduct points with respect to not being able to have a stone crusher on the map, but that is something that I do want to check out and point out for you guys. So there we have our manure heap. I was got a little bit lost as to where we were. Now, something else, something really interesting about this particular map is, well, let's go over here and check it out. We have floating question marks, floating help icons, several of them over here, in fact. So hopefully the map will get updated and these floating icons will get, well, they'll find their proper place. But we've got a pair of floating icons here. If we look off in the distance, we can see 3 or 4 other floating icons over there in the trees. Now, with respect to the map having customizable farm, yes, it does indeed. So we are going to give the map a full point there. So that's one of those other, you'll buy from a local farmer sell point. Right across from the main farm, which is right here, you have a bale sell point. And now we'll just make our way back over to the main shop. So you'll see where we are located right now. We're right here by field 121. This is the old grain mill. I've gone ahead and bought that so you can see that we can make wheat flour, barley, oat, and sorghum flour, as well as sunflower, canola, and olive oil here at the old grain mill. And right around the street, like I said, is where we are going to find the shop, as well as our animal dealer. So here we have our vehicle workshop. We have our vehicle dealer trigger. So this is going to be for customized selling, painting, and repairing here at the vehicle shop. Then we have our vehicle buy point. Let's go ahead and get our Mahindra. And then we have our animal dealer located right here. Once again, with our static cows. So fairly small area for our vehicles to spawn in at. I really wouldn't expect too big of an area, given the size of the map and given the size of these fields. But we do have a fairly small area. So you're not going to be buying a whole heap ton of stuff before you're going to need to move it out of the vehicle shop. Let's go ahead and make our way over here to our pallet sell point, as well as a grain sell point. So we take a look at the map, you'll see that this is described as exactly purchase of pallets and purchase of agropole, and this is going to be where we're going to sell various grain crops. We have our old grain mill located right there. So we have our interactive icon, we have our pallet spawn point, then we have our dump station. This is the buildable area that you could buy and put another little farm in here. Or you could buy this and put a couple smaller production areas over here if you want to expand your production options. Let's go ahead and jump in cab. We'll get a little feel for how the land ebbs and flows. You can also see kind of what would be involved if you wanted to merge some of these fields together. Like I said, it's just taking out some of the trees along the field edges and then applying them together. Over here we have the sawmill. Looks a little bit different from mostly ground level, doesn't it? That would be the map border right there. We have a grain sell point. We have a wood chip sell point directly over there. Then our log sell point right here with our wood sell trigger. We are going to give the map a half a point with respect to building textures using the new texture technique. A lot of these buildings are not using that new technique, but we do have a decent amount of ground textures that are using the technique, so we will give the map a half a point there. Nice windy road network, and like I said, really nice undulations, changes in elevations with respect to the fields. We'll double back here in a moment, but we've got our sell point right here for our sell to local farmer. Our main farm is just up the hill here, just up the street, sorry, and across the way on our left. And then we have the bale area. Gosh, how do I get back here? Well, that's... Do I go through the building? What's this? Well, that is... You want me to get through around here? That is really... I don't know if that's so well thought out. Yeah. I mean, we'd have to come around here. Excuse me. Excuse me, ma'am. I mean, that is tight even for the Mahindra, let alone anything else. There we go. There's floaty. Floaty question mark. Will that impact gameplay? No. Just fun. Fun little things to point out from here to there. Really, really nice, small, well decorated, well detailed map. Would I like to have seen newer textures on these buildings? Sure. How much does it really deter from the gameplay? Well, that's really up for you to decide as a potential player of the map. Here we have another one of those sell to local farmer sell points. Watering hole. Let's just go ahead and see. Do we have a water trigger here? I am not seeing one, so I do not believe that we will be able to buy any water from here or steal any water, maybe I should say. Let's just cut across a couple fields. It's interesting. We have a few grass fields here all beside each other. Like I said, you take out a half dozen trees, you could easily merge all those into one. Then up here we have another large collection of buy and sell triggers. We have our lime buy point. We have our dairy, so we have our milk sell point. We have our fuel buy point. We have another bale sell point. And we have a grain sell point up here in the northeast corner of the map. And the final area that we're going to check out is going to be related to our manure heap. I would say overall, we're going to give the map a full point with respect to the trigger and interactive areas being clearly marked. So we're going to give the map 4.25 out of 5. So 4.25 points out of 5. Not a bad little Polish style map. Now when I plugged the map name into Google Translate, it came back as Slavic. So I don't know if it's really Polish or if it's more or less Slavic, and then how much of that are you really just kind of nipping at the bud, right? So overall, let me know what you all think down in the comments below for the Wośnice map. Again, this map you found over the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And until next time, happy farming.